I'll never let go. I promise.
Jesus H. God!
Hey, welcome back to CraftRedix. In my last video I used this, a thermal laser printer for parts, to make a little robot vehicle. His little job is to collect electricity for all my other bots. So, what do you think of that lore? I made his face, a good part of his body, attaching the wheels and rails. Also made a lightning rod to collect all this electricity. So here's part 2. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, go back. There's a lot of action there. You'll find out if I ever made it to the chopper, or the choppa, and if Rose ever fulfilled her promise. So the name of the game on this build is Power. Whenever you drive by a transformer station or a power generating plant, there's all this stuff and it all looks horribly important. Who knows what any of it does though, so I'm going to try to kind of recreate that vibe. I noticed a lot of 4s in the parts that I got for this build and kind of leaned into it. That's the stuff out of a USB plug. On the back of this dude's head is 4 little pins as well, so I thought, well, that all kind of goes together. Let's attach it all with wires. I waited as long as I could to attach the head to the body because I knew I'd smack it and probably break it off, but you know what? I never did. You will see at the very end of this video that his ear is all bent. Who knows when that happened. But anyway, let's run some wires. I ended up connecting these wires to the back of the head with the casing from another wire, like the rubbery outer casing part. It was green, and I noticed a lot of green in the other parts that I had, so again, thought I'd lean into it. This is going to be a green and copper build. And I guess once the copper starts to patina, that's going to look green as well. Kind of use these like beads. In other builds, I've used beads to kind of run wires into. It looks like a good place to attach to. I think I picked that little bit up from Mecha. I'm pretty proud of the fact that even though there's all this wiring, none of these wires actually touch each other. So, well, I guess except on the lightning rod, but that doesn't really count. But yeah, no short circuit here. Number 5 is alive, Jack. It's nice when you can get a 2-4 with a part. This is good detail, and it's also reinforcing that attachment from the head to the body. So here we go with more green. This was honestly the stupid hardest part of this build. Getting both of these little posts stuck into this little piece of rubber. I don't know, I nearly threw the whole thing through the window because it took me like an hour. But, it looks pretty cool. At this point I was running pretty low on copper, so I just kind of was using scraps here and there. I stuffed some inside that spring. Also wrapped the green rubbery nightmare piece with some. And then after that it was like I had like 3 inches of copper wire left. So I used it very sparingly, just for detail. Bullseye. Ended up doing this trick all over the build, just adding detail. The more wires I had coming from one place to another, just the cooler I thought it looked. And honestly, I think I can plug my phone into this thing right now and it'll charge. One thing about using super glue is it tends to leave kind of a white haze around where you apply it. That used to really bug me, and I'd end up painting stuff I really didn't need to cover it. But now I realize if it's everywhere, it kind of works like weathering. It kind of ties everything together. I like it now. I wish I could get it in other colors. For those keeping track at home, the blue handled snips are the good ones. The red handled ones are abused. The blue ones are pristine. I've used them like 4 times. So at this point, I'm just really adding in the last bit of detail. I'm really just using the last of the parts. If you take a look at the table, there's not much there. Just kind of sprinkling them in here and there. Areas that look like they could use a little decoration. And then adding in the final parts. These little aerials or antennas or ears. I like to think of them as ears. I know my wife does. She thought this guy looked like a dog when I was done. Little robot dog. She wanted me to name the whole build Fido. I think Vault Collector is cooler. Alright, so here's the finished product. The Vault Collector. I'm pretty proud of this build. I learned a lot. A lot of what not to do. Am I right? LOL. So here's the finished product. The Vault Collector. I thought he came out great. The amount of detail I was able to cram into here without it looking super overdone, I feel real good about it. I have a tendency to over greebly, and this is definitely not that. Of course, you know, I only had so many parts to work with. Sometimes that limiting factor is helpful for me, but I really love the way his face and eyes and ears and stuff came out. This is still super cool. So I really appreciate you watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, here's kind of a little preview of what's to come. I bought a couple 99-cent kits from Harbor Freight and put them together. Really fun builds. I have a video for that. Also made this guy. Not sure if I'll do a video for him or not. Actually, I'm kind of tempted to paint him up and string wires between here, put little circuit boards. I don't know. We'll see. My next big build will be this guy. Yeah, look at that. This I made out of my bits boxes. This isn't from one single source like the last couple I made. I don't have his fingers splayed out because I don't want to damage him while I'm still working on him. He's almost done though. I finished these greeblies last night. Got a little bit of articulation here. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see me build this thing. Check that out. He'll stand up. Yeah, boy. I'm going to make a base for him. I got a magnet pack that's going to go right here. In fact, there's the magnet pack. And this is going to stick. That'll be the base. That'll stick on there. And then you'll be able to kind of put him in a bunch of cool poses maybe. Skater. Can have him doing that fun Russian dance we always saw in cartoons. And then my next parts from one source build is going to come from this thing. Yeah, there's a lot here. I'm not going to pull it all out, but just right there, look at that. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to get working on this, maybe this week. I have a bunch of voiceovers to do. I'm trying to get a video out every week for a while. So let's see, we'll have 2 from this one. Part 1, I guess you saw last week. And if you haven't watched part 1, go back and check that out. And, you know, like I said in that video, check out the Rocky build. That one's really cool. I got this one coming. I'll have an unboxing video from Mr. Spidermaf, who very much killed it with a package he sent me all the way from the UK. And, yeah, of course, this guy. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe and like. All right. Thank you.